Have you ever been subject to marketing that makes you feel kind of panicked and fearful, like, oh, I have to click on it, or what if I miss out? Well, that is fear-based marketing. Does it work? Absolutely. Should you do it? I don't know. We're going to explore that today on Iconic TV. I'm Connie Scavella. I'm your host for Iconic TV Live every Tuesday. And today we want to really dive into the ethics around your marketing. What should you do? What shouldn't you do? Because a lot of this is coming into question when we're looking at what's happening with AI and things like that. So we want to go ahead and really figure out what should we do, what should we avoid, and this is what we're talking about today. Is we are talking about fear-based marketing. So what should you do with that? And have you ever been subjected to it, or do you use it now? Do you use it in your emails, in your marketing? It was a big thing that people talked about for a while, right? Like, oh, put a little fear and lead with the negative versus lead with the positive. Is it true? Yeah, because a lot of people are more negatively incentivized. But the question is, do we really need to do that? And I don't know. I'm going to give you a couple options on how you can look at your marketing. What should you do? What shouldn't you do? And we're going to start right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and get going with this topic because it's really interesting when people are thinking about what do I do? What should I say in my marketing? I want to clear all of that up for you today. And let's dive into this topic because it's really kind of fun. And what we're going to do is look at first what should you do and what should you start avoiding. So, a lot of the information out there is negative, but remember, it's fear is an emotion, and people buy not logically, but based on emotion, right? They don't buy for logical reasons. And Zig Ziglar talks about that. So when you're in a sales process or when you're doing your marketing, you do want to appeal to people's emotions. And that's why a lot of people get confused and they use too much fear-based marketing. So we want to address that today because it is emotional, but it also, fear-based marketing triggers a survival instinct. And what that's going to do actually is kind of lead to business erosion. People will stop trusting you as much if all of your marketing is fear-based. And so what happens when you look at that? Okay, how do you inspire fear-based marketing? How does it grab your attention? What happens to you? What happens to your brain, right? You've probably heard of the 3 and 4 F's, right? The fight, the fight, the flight, and the freeze. There's another one. It's fornication, right? But those were the three things. How are you doing it? What is happening to your audience when you start to implement these? So if they are into the fight mode, they're going to disagree, right? They might resist what you offer. If they're into the flight mode, they will quit. They might avoid you or disappear. Think ghosting. And then when they're in the freeze mode, it's just paralysis analysis. They can never make a decision. And if you're finding that your audience, when you're talking to them, gets into one of these three patterns, this might be why. Your fear-based marketing might be triggering them to pull back or move away from you rather than moving towards you. So let me know if that's something that's happening in your world, because this is probably what you're doing and maybe you don't even realize it. So, but does fear work? Of course it works. And it can also be a little bit dangerous. So 75% of marketing experts suggest using a little bit of fear-based marketing or urgency marketing. And this comes from HubSpot. But here's the thing, 67% of consumers say that when the marketing is more fear tactics, that they tend to distrust the brand. So does it work? Yes, but it maybe you've had some of those like clickbaity headlines and you click on something, you think, "Oh, I wonder what that is." And then you're just strung along, right? And we still fall for it, right? We are emotion-based people, but if you keep doing it all the time, you are going to erode your brand. So I always like to look at the brain. What's happening up here, right? That makes us buy or not buy something. And so, if you know the amygdala, right, and that's a part in your brain back here, right, that's the ego, that's the part that is very reactive. What happens, it's going to see and sense fear, and it's going to pull back, okay? And it's going to trigger the instinct of survival. So, it's it's actually working more against you than it is for you. So you're going to have to balance the two of them out, right? Because in the long term, what happens is that people will get buyer's remorse if you use too much of this. You will have less buyer retention, and also you aren't going to keep attracting more. You're going to decay the brand instead of revitalizing it. So let's look at this. What's the difference between urgency and fear? Because you can use these in a healthy way, and it's all in the wording, right? And, words have a lot of power. If you use them subtly in the right way, you can really move the world. But if you use the wrong words, you can ignite them into chaos. So we don't want to do that. So let's talk about the difference here between the two. And if we look deeply on these, on urgency, okay, that can be a healthy prompt. And then the fear side on the other side actually is a threat response. And that's what we're trying to avoid. This is why we say it's kind of a subtle little thing. So if we're looking at urgency, it can be a time sensitive opportunity. And it could be, I'm going to give you some examples here in a second. It'll encourage them to take action, and it builds motivation. So there's oh, I want that feeling. But the fear triggers the threat response. And then what happens there is there's an implied danger, or you're going to fail. It sparks panic or avoidance, and it breeds resistance or regret, like we were just talking about. So what's an example here? Okay, here's two examples of fear-based marketing versus urgency-based marketing. Urgency is, hey, there's only 8 left. The sale ends on Friday, right? Those are some urgency triggers. Fear-based is, hey, don't get left behind, or you're never going to make it if you don't add this to your arsenal, or something like that, right? So which one are you using? That's always the question. Put it down below, are you more fear-based or urgency-based? Urgency is more of the FOMO, right? Maybe a little bit of fear of missing out, but you have to add value to that. Okay, is this making sense? So think about, for you, look back at your marketing. What are you doing? Are you leading more with fear, or are you eroding trust? Or are you just having enough of the urgency in it to make people actually take action? Because people do want to buy things, but they also lack confidence and lack trusting themselves. So they want to trust you. And that's why you want to make sure that it's a perfect blend of each. So is this making sense? Okay. It's kind of a fun topic when you start to look at it. Look at what your competitors are doing. Look at what you're doing, and see what's working. See where people are responding. And you can look at all the different platforms. Some platforms use it more than others, and certain industries use it more than others as well. So you want to figure out. Also, the third way is panic. Okay, do you use panic? I think the world is panicked enough. There's enough anxiety out there, right? Are you protected when disaster hits? It sounds like a what is that? Allstate commercial or something like that. When chaos strikes, and oh gosh. So industries like that, like insurance, use a lot of fear-based marketing to get you to do something. If you look at the financial markets, they do that a lot. Or crypto, right? Oh, it's going to go so high, you're going to miss out. You're never going to make money, right? It's very fear-based. But if you shout it too often, people are going to stop listening. So you have to be careful of that. It's a real fine line that you're walking when it comes to this. Because when fear becomes the foundation of your influence, manipulation ends up replacing your leadership. They don't see you as a leader, they see you as a manipulator. So be careful how you are using this. So, what are some things that make businesses cross the line? And one of them is you can feel it. Like you can just feel it. It's not like a good feeling up here. It's like a tight feeling in your gut, right? It's guilt-driven marketing. You've seen those, right? Okay. Or fear of missing out, FOMO, but without the value. And then there's also the fact of if you find that what we call doom-laced hooks, right? Your business is going to fail if, like, the world is going to crumble around you if you don't do this. If you're still using webinars in 2024 or 2025, you are behind the 8 ball, right? All this doom and gloom. That's the difference on what we're talking about. And again, you want to look at how do you take your language, make it inspire people, but still get them to move forward. So yes, fear-based marketing can work in certain instances. The question is it overused? And I really think so. And so if you're using a smarter way, then you want to look at it from an angle of emotional intelligence. There's an alternative. And the way that this works is that you can actually build trust before urgency. Because if you're like, hurry, 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 and then they're like, okay, and then they're like, why? And then they'll pull back, right? So you also want to use empathy, not intimidation. Don't just make people feel bad and guilty, and create permission-based momentum. Yeah, can we take the next level? Can we go the next thing and the next thing, right? They're like, yeah, let's keep moving forward, rather than this feeling that they're being pushed into something. And I know you felt this, so you want to make sure that you are using more emotional intelligence in your marketing than fear-based. And so here's our ethical influence framework. And this is how you can look at this to know, what is the process? What are the questions I should be asking as far as, is this working or is this taking people away? And so you can take a screenshot of this framework if you want to. And so what you're doing first is you want to clarify the intention. What do you want people to do? Then the urgency to real value, right? Make sure that you tie in urgency to value, not just hurry, hurry and buy this. Like, yeah, you want to hurry and buy this so you can put it into play right away and start reaping the profits from that. So make sure there's a reason for taking action right away, and position yourself and this offer as a guide, not a threat. Like, hey, I only have 2 spots left to work with me ever. So that doesn't sound like a guide. Hey, I've got 2 opportunities for people to come work with me. If you want to take your business here and here and here and here, then it's not a threat. It's like, oh, there's some urgency there. Then you want to also look at delivering truth with compassion. So if you are using FOMO or some of these tactics, then make sure it's with some compassion. So you're, again, walking that line, and then offer choice, but not pressure. You don't need to pressure people into doing anything with you. And so that is the framework. Do you have a framework in your business to figure out, hey, is this working? Or am I actually pushing people away? That's what you're trying to figure out. Am I walking on that fine line enough to move people forward, but not enough to lose the trust that they have in me and my business? So when you're looking at this, here's an example that I want to share with you of how it looks and feels, right? So if you're marketing or selling with fear, it's like driving really fast on bald tires. It's risky. And eventually something crashes, right? You can only do it for a little bit. It's not advised, and you're not going to get very far with it. But if you're selling with clarity, it's like inviting somebody into a well-lit room, right? It feels safe, it's intentional, it's effective, and that's what you want to look at. How are you driving your business? How are you driving your marketing? Are you reckless with this and, bald tires and, you're in danger? Or are you saying, hey, fully transparent, come take a look at this. Everything is wonderful. Let people feel safe. Let people uh, get to know you, because it does take 9 to 16 touches for you to have people really trust you to want to do business with you. And if you're burning it out on the first couple incidents that they see you or that they encounter you, you're going to erode your brand. And actually, you will find that if you do more trust-based marketing, you will have a 32% higher retention of your clients when you do that. So there's always a good reason to focus on the positive, healthy prompts that you're doing. So here's some questions that you can do to audit your marketing to see, which side am I on? Am I on the good side or the bad side? Am I driving on bald tires in my marketing? Am I about to wreck everything? So you can ask yourself, does your copy respect the reader's autonomy, right? Like, yeah, I can choose, I can decide to do this or not. And would the message build trust, even if they don't buy? Like, well, I didn't buy, but you know what? They still think that's a good brand that you have or a good message. That's okay, because you'll see them again and again. And then, am I creating urgency that feels empowering? Like when people do follow the urgency, are they feeling like, yeah, I'm so glad I did that. Oh, yeah, I got that. That came, that's exactly what I needed. Oh, it was the perfect timing for me and everything aligned, right? That's how you want to do it. Ask yourself those 3 questions as you're auditing your marketing to see if it works. So let me give you a couple more trust-driven examples. And one of them is like this. There's a smarter way to scale, and we'll show you how. Right? Do you see how that's more positive and inviting? Here's another one. Your next move matters. Here's how to make it count. Here's a third trust-driven example. Let's simplify the chaos and build what lasts. Do you see how that's very different from some of the other fear-based marketing that is out there? It just is a lot smoother, elegant, and it makes you kind of want to nod with it, right? Okay, so always a big fan of Warren Buffett, who says it takes years to build trust and seconds to destroy it. And that's what we're talking about. It does take a greater art to do this without this overt manipulation. So what you want to do with your marketing is have the courage to lead differently. I know there's a lot of fear-based marketing out there. And in some cases, you can use it, but sparingly, right? You don't want to have all 4 tires bald. But if you've got one, at least you're going to make it to the tire store. And then you want to change that out. So your brand doesn't need to lead with fear in order to win. What it does need to have, it needs clarity, it needs empathy, and the emotional intelligence. And whether you're doing your own marketing, your own writing, your own copywriting, you're hiring somebody, you're using AI, keep these ideas and these concepts in mind. They're very, very important, right? What you want to understand is that you can say less and mean more. You don't have to do some of these kind of slimy little tactics that are out there, and they work. Trust me, they definitely work, but are they current? Are they relevant today? There's so much skepticism right now, especially with AI. People don't even know if they're watching a real person or not. I'm definitely real here, but people wonder. And then if it takes longer and longer to build trust when people don't have that clarity and certainty. So here's the 4 facts I want you to remember, and then I'm going to ask you one more question here. These 4 facts, I want you to ask yourself, how are you with these? Okay, remember that fear works, but it does have a cost, okay? And yes, urgency can drive results without the panic. Don't put the panic button in your messaging. Ethical marketing, if you can learn it, it's an art, and it's also a competitive edge. And the real truth is that trust is the new conversion currency. If you want to convert more, use trust. Bottom line, here's what you want to ask yourself is this: what do you really want to happen with your marketing? Do you really just want click, click, click? Are you just like have that vanity aspect to your marketing? Oh, all these people clicked and liked, and or do you want the clients? Right? Do you want to actually speak to your dream client, the high ticket client, and the quality client that isn't going to leave you, that isn't going to be short term, but they're going to stay with you for a very, very long time? So if you want to build an iconic brand, we can help you out with that. And just go ahead and book a call. We'll help you scale your business. And it's very simple. You schedule a time. We will create a strategy for your business or look at your strategy, and then your business will skyrocket. When you do book a call, we'll give you a guide to how to actually really grow your business with LinkedIn. We really do have a lot of experience, 20 years of experience doing this. And also, a little side note, if you are looking to learn how to do your marketing better in your business, if you're a consultant or an expert in business or leaving corporate or you've been laid off, we are right now hiring business consultants. And if you want to know how it works, how it looks, if you're qualified, if you have the skills, the expertise, we are hiring business consultants in all different areas. So put your expertise to work. We would love to talk with you more about that and figure out, are you ready to be an iconic business advisor? And if your business is ready to have a coach, have a consultant, please book a call. We'd be happy to give you a 10-minute call, find out what you need. We'll either point you in the right direction or talk with you more and give you a roadmap so you know exactly how to reach your 6, 7, or 8-figure goals for this year. So we will see you next week. Have a fabulous week. Change your marketing, change it up. Up level it a little bit more so you can attract better clients. And then we will see you next week on Iconic TV at 5 p.m. Have a great week and be iconic.